Hello, my name's Craig Barton, and welcome to a series of videos helping you make the most out of my website, Diagnosticquestions.com. Now, I first thought of the idea of this website because I wanted a way to learn more about how not just my students, but how students all around the world think and approach certain topics. And specifically, I wanted to know what misconceptions and misunderstandings they had. Because my theory was, if I could go into a lesson already armed with knowledge of the common mistakes and misconceptions students have about certain topics, then I'd be able to deliver much better lessons. Because I remember when I was first started teaching, and I was approaching topics for the first time, I had no idea what students knew and what they didn't know, or what mistakes they were going to make, and I wished I had some kind of key insight. So perhaps you're a newly qualified teacher or a student teacher approaching a topic for the first time, or perhaps you haven't taught a particular topic for a while, or maybe you are looking for a new way of approaching it and you want to refresh your subject knowledge, or perhaps, just like me, you're just simply fascinated in how students think and how they approach different topics and concepts. I'm going to show you now, hopefully, how you can use the website to really gain a greater insight and go into your lessons much better prepared. So let's imagine that you are about to teach a lesson on rounding to significant figures, and you want to know the kind of mistakes students make at this topic. So let's find out some data on it. So if I go to the data section, and you don't need to be logged in to do this, anyone can do this on phone or laptop or whatever, and we're going to go to questions. And this is going to give us data on all the questions that have been answered on all different subjects across the website. And it's filtered by the most incorrectly answered questions first. Now it's for the whole of maths at the moment, but I want to go specific into rounding, so let's find it. Let's click on maths, let's click on number, and it's quite interesting already. We can see the different percentages for correctly answered questions, and we can see there's a bit of a variation proportion students are having a bit of a nightmare with, so that's something that could be investigated. But I want down here rounding and estimating, and specifically I want rounding to significant figures. Now, as I say, it's defaulted to give the most poorly answered questions first, but what I actually want, I'm going to search by even spread, because even spread is going to find me questions where the answers given by students are spread out over the 4 answers. Now, I've got this question here. Let's have a look at this, and that seems to have got 59% seem to have got it right, and if I just click on the percentages, I can see that it's quite an even spread amongst the other 3 answers. So let's click on this question. And this takes us to the data page, where we can actually view students who've got this right and the actual explanations that they've given. And this is a really useful page for students to visit. And if you look at the videos that I've done on answering questions and tests, this is where students can go to really learn from other students all around the world. But we want to do it from a teacher perspective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Advanced. And on advanced mode, I can filter different things. So there I can see the statistics on the question. And here at the moment, it's filtered out all the correct answers that have been given for this question. So answer C is the correct one there, which is 0.0290. Now, I can probably guess, if I think about it, why students have picked A, B and D. But I don't want to guess, I want to know what's going on. I want to know in their own words why they've chosen it. So let's have a look at A, 0.03, and let's go down and filter out all the students who've answered A and see what they actually said when they typed their answer in. Now this is fascinating, look at this. You look at the 2,895 part of it, and that's rounded to 3,000, but because it's a decimal, you add the decimal points in. So a classic misconception's been made there, thinking that you can treat decimals with significant figures just like other numbers, integer values. I also particularly like this one here. There only has to be 3 numbers in it, and it's asking for significant figures. So the answer must have 3 numbers in it, and the only one, well, the 2 that have got 3 numbers in it is 0.03 and 0.029. So they've gone for A, rounding it up. So you get a real insight into why students have selected those answers. You don't just have to guess. What about the other wrong answers here? So B is a wrong answer. I wonder why they've gone for B. Why would they have gone for 0.0289? Well, again, we don't need to guess anymore. We can get a key insight into how students think here. Let's have a look at this. You ignore the zeros, well that's a positive start. and it becomes that since there's not a number in front of them. But they seem to have ignored this 5 at the bottom, and that's even clearer here because 289 is the first 3 significant figures. So there's a classic misconception there of not accounting for this 4th significant figure. It's a different misconception that's apparent in A. There's clearly a knowledge that these zeros have to be accounted for with significant figures, but crucially this 9 hasn't been brought into play. And what about option D? What's D revealing? 0.029. Let's have a look at that. So let's filter out and get the answers for D. And I love some of these answers. Absolutely fascinating stuff. Again, really crystal clear explanations as to how they think. Because the zeros are not counted and because the number after the 9 is 5, it rounds up. But here's one that really reveals it. This one for me is the key. The first 3 significant figures are the 239. Perfect explanation. We round and we get the correct answer, 0.0290, but then they're saying that that is exactly the same as 0.029. So you've got absolutely key insight into how those students think. Now, of course, you can set this question as part of a quiz for your own students and get their own answers and explanations. But if I was going into a lesson about to teach significant figures for the first time, these answers and crucially the explanations that go with them would give me into a really key insight into the kind of mistakes and misconceptions that students could have, and it would just reinforce in my mind how careful I would have to be with my explanations. So you can do that for any topic you're about to teach. Have a look at some of the most misanswered questions on it. Just go to the data questions page. Read some of the explanations given by students all around the world. You can filter if you want to see girls' explanations versus boys' explanations, 12-year-olds versus 16-year-olds, whatever you want, but hopefully that will arm you with some really useful information that's going to help your lessons become better informed. Hope that was useful. If you want to see some more videos in this series, for example, how to set questions and quizzes for your classes and get their data and explanations back, then just click on the link that's below in the YouTube description. Take care and bye for now.